The following is an excerpt from the book Business Continuity: 5 Steps to Protect Your Family. Don't Make Them the Victim of an Unplanned Business by Bill Black, the Exit Coach.
Chapter 1, The Growth Mindset. I'd like to introduce you to George and Pam. Imagine that you know them. You probably know someone just like them. They're both age 57. They have 2 kids aged 27 and 21, and they've owned and operated a construction business for the last 25 years. With a lot of hard work and determination, they've built it up to 60 employees with $7 million in annual revenues and have 4 locations. George has called a meeting and is all fired up today. He's been approached by a competitor up north, and they would like to sell their business to George for a very reasonable price. The reason they want to sell is that the owner of that business retired 3 years ago, and he put his son in charge. The problem is that the son was not exactly, shall we say, CEO material, and now the business is faltering. In fact, it's very rare that a family business succeeds a management transition to a next generation. There's usually way too much taken for granted when a son or daughter comes in. Sometimes the father or mother handing the business off is just burned out and they need to get out, and the son or daughter is a natural path, and they assume that everything will be all right if they can just keep the business running and maintain the status quo. Many times the son or daughter has new ideas that they've just been itching to implement, and when mom or dad is finally gone, they go to work to implement these changes. In this case, the son of the owner did not possess the same people skills as the dad, and as a result, the company had lost customers and burned bridges with a few vendors, and revenues were down. The employee morale was also down because the company had not paid the expected bonuses they were used to receiving in a couple of years. Further, because the employee morale was down, sloppy work was being done and accidents had occurred, driving up work costs and their workers' compensation insurance costs. But George saw beyond that. He saw the potential to expand his territory, cut costs, blend employees into his excellent culture, and immediately reduce the workers' compensation costs. It was a path to double his business overnight, and he was excited. The bank had initially been hesitant, but they were coming around, and George had told his key employee that he would cut him in on the new opportunity, and that's what George wanted to talk about at the meeting. So we talked about ways to help the key employee feel like an owner without actually giving him stock. We discussed phantom stock plan designs, in particular a version called a stock appreciation rights plan design that gives employees a share of the growth of the company, but that ties in employees to the company with a vesting schedule, which provides that employees who leave the company forfeit some or all of the benefit. We also talked about another version called a controlled bonus plan that's immediately tax deductible to the company, like a cash bonus, but that's not accessible by the employee for a period of years, again to retain the employee. George was excited. We talked about growth and expansion and what that would mean for his family and his future. But Pam was concerned. Near the end of the meeting, she said, "I don't know if you know this, but we haven't planned for a lot of the basics. We don't have a living trust or employment agreements, and I feel like we need to do a lot of work in those areas before we can grow or expand the business." I was shocked. I had assumed that they were all taken care of in the basic planning areas. I said I did not know that, and I agree that it's critical that we get the basics in order quickly, and we will discuss that first at our next meeting. That was on March 1st, 2015. I want you to remember that day. I know I always will.
The preceding was an excerpt from the book Business Continuity: 5 Steps to Protect Your Family. Don't Make Them the Victim of an Unplanned Business by Bill Black, the Exit Coach. If you would like to get a copy of the book, it is available at Amazon.com for $9.95, or you can get an ebook emailed right to you absolutely free by texting the word family to 44222. That's text the word family to 44222 for a free ebook copy.